welcome. Welcome and thanks for joining me for our night sky lesson on constellations, stars, and outer space. Today we're going to be thinking big because outer space is big. We'll start first with the sun. Our sun, my personal favorite star, hanging out there in outer space 93 million miles away. One thing you might first know about the sun is super hot, right? Super hot is in 10,000 degrees Celsius hot. That's pretty hot. So the sun, the particles at the sun, which are moving around super quickly, when they collide, they create something called fusion. In fusion, the result is a little particle called a photon. These photons travel off from the sun every direction, every single moment of the day that the sun is shining. Even if we can't see the sun, this is happening. This photon energy is so strong that it's responsible for the visible light we see here on Earth. What makes us squint if we look at the sun by accident, what gives our skin like a suntan or a sunburn, and the same thing that melts our ice cream cone. These photons travel 93 million miles through outer space in 8 minutes to make their journey down to Earth. That's pretty fast. 8 minutes. The next closest star in our seeable galaxy is Proxima Centauri. The travel from a photon from Proxima Centauri would take 4 years to make that journey. 4 years, a photon from that star. So 8 minutes, that's pretty fast. I mean, that sounds like a fast mile time even. So thanks for joining. We'll go ahead and get started thinking about the universe, stars, and galaxies. Hope you enjoy. There are a billion trillion stars in the seeable universe. 93 billion light years is what we can see. We're tiny little specks of dust in this seemingly infinite space. However, we still have importance in our lives here on the planet Earth. Stars have different appearances and personalities. How do stars form? Stars form due to the pressurizing of the forces of gravity over gases. A baby star, a protostar, is in the earliest stage of a star. However, they range from a red dwarf to a white supergiant. The main classifications and types of stars have to do with their temperature, the elements they absorb, their appearance, and their color. The labels for these stars are VA, FG, and M. Our star, our sun, is considered a yellow spectrum star and is about 10,000 degrees Celsius. The most common type of star observed is the cooler red dwarf star. Stars seem to be on the same plane when we look out to outer space. However, even within our own Milky Way, there's so much diversity and so much difference in this type of star and the part of the lifetime that the star is on. One example that you can see this a little bit more clearly is if you look at the familiar constellation Orion. Orion has a star Rigel and Betelgeuse. Orion has a blue star, the hot blue star at his foot, and has a cooler red star at his shoulder. Betelgeuse and Rigel exist within the same constellation, however, are very different on their lifetime as stars, billions of years different. A star is a bright object in space that gives off energy that it makes at its core, a big burning ball of gas, creating these particles that move around really quickly in contact, fusion, and the result is a photon. A constellation is a cluster of stars grouped together in a specific pattern. It helps us tell a story and it helps us to navigate the night sky. There are 88 constellations that make up the map of the entire horizon. At any given time of the year, many of those constellations are not visible to us. However, there are a select few that we're able to view at certain times of the year. Specifically, if we are in the northern hemisphere, we'll be able to see certain constellations throughout the year, and the same can be said for the southern hemisphere. We'll see certain constellations throughout the year. Constellations are used to tell stories like a map. Constellations, back when the ancient Greeks used to use stars to tell a story and also help familiarize and categorize the night sky. Stars are awesome on their own, however, grouped all together, they make a supergroup, kind of like the Avengers. So when we look at the night sky and we see constellations, not only is it telling us a story, but it's also making the difference between saying just the name of a city versus giving the context of the country it's in. So the constellations help to create that map to help people better understand what they're looking at. Due to the rotation of the Earth, we're able to view different constellations at different times. As Earth makes its journey around the sun, different parts of space become available as kind of a backdrop as we rotate around the sun, moving through space, moving through time, the course of 1 year. Seasons will provide different opportunities to see different constellations, and the constellations, other than just being a map or a picture, used to tell the ancient Greeks would be to tell a story as well as to have some sort of representation of something familiar. If any of you have heard of the zodiac, thinking about the shapes in the sky, if Gemini rings a bell, Sagittarius, Scorpio, these are certain shapes that in the ancient Greeks told a story, but seeing these shapes in outer space helps give a context to the seasons and different appearance in the sky as we make our yearly lap around the sun. Other stories that ancient Greeks used to tell surround the hero Hercules, a constellation reminding of the movie or the story told before the movie, Pegasus, the winged horse, as well as Draco the dragon. So, today's activity, we are going to tell our own story mapping the night sky. There are 88 constellations. Today, we're going to make our own. So looking at the night sky, we're going to go ahead and pick a few stars, pointing them on our paper, and then looking more closely about what story can we tell with our constellation. For our night sky lesson, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen. I know I'm not holding them, but I'll show you them in just a moment. A piece of paper and a pen. What you're going to do is hold your paper up to the night sky, poke holes in the paper to indicate your own constellation. Today you get to tell the story. There's 88 constellations already predetermined, made by astronomers. Today you get to make your own. So your story might be like the stories of the ancient Greeks, or it might be completely your own story. We'll go ahead and get started. I'll give you a little example, and I'd love to hear what your stories you create about the night sky.
Gazing up at the night sky, if you could see, you would see a number of stars. Some are recognizable constellations as we orient ourselves north, south, east, and west. And some, I have no idea what the constellations are, but I do wonder. Our activity here, when you have your piece of paper and your pen, is to hold the paper up to the night sky, identifying a series of stars that you then poke the hole where approximately the star would be onto your paper. Once you come back with your shape, you'll notice that it's created a pattern. From the pattern that you see, then imagining, using your imagination, what the image is. When I roughly sketch mine out, I see the image of a swan, and I create the story that this swan was traveling and it lost its pack, so it ultimately got lost. It couldn't find where it was going, so it decided to go higher and higher for a higher perspective, for a different point of view, and it got caught by the sky, and now it is trapped in the constellations. So that's my story, but go ahead and create this activity. Notice what you see. There's really wonderful apps out there as well to look at the night sky, sky view, night sky apps where you can point your phone camera up to the sky and it can tell you what stars you're actually looking at if you're curious, as well as most phones also have the direction north, south, east, and west, but we'll give you a follow-up direction on looking at a compass. So thank you for joining. Hope you have fun with this activity. I'll look forward to hearing your comments.